Okay,
Okay,
I say yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay,
meeting
meeting
is
is
officially
officially
open.
open.
Welcome to everybody. Good to see Michael in person. I know
I
some
know
people
some
tried to
people
make
tried.
it in person, but they had conflicts, but that's all okay. And I know that Laura's traveling again, so that's all okay. All right, I think the first item on the agenda, oh, actually, as part of my welcome, just a little cheering note here before we get to the minutes, which of course, I hold on, let me see if I can find them. Okay, they're exactly where they should be, by the way. I just wanted to read you from a clip a couple weeks ago from the New York Times, beautiful picture of the earth, message below, not so happy. This is the New York Times on August 18th, 2024, according to a NASA analysis of daily global temperature data, July 22nd, 2024 was the hottest day ever recorded on Earth. While the planet's continued warming and the threat it poses to communities and ecosystems is not exactly news, record-breaking temperatures are raising international alarm among climate scientists. Many worry that if unchecked, the extreme heat resulting from climate change could prove catastrophic. So on that note, we can get to our work. And the first item was, by the way, I'm happy to say things are going great with the minutes, and I got a few posted this weekend, so we're extremely current on our minutes. So we do have before us the minutes for Monday, September 9, 2024. Just I'll go in a circle again, starting with James, if people have edits or corrections to the minutes that Rachel has prepared.
I have no edits.
Okay, Janet, any edits or any?
No.
Okay.
That's fine.
I'll skip over me. We'll go to Aisha. Any corrections or edits to the minutes from September 9th?
No, thank you, Rachel, for that great job.
Okay, and then I'll let Michael go. Then I did have a couple corrections.
Yeah, I sent mine into Rachel earlier, just a couple of capitalizations at the last paragraph. Otherwise, they're great.
All right, so I had just a couple, and that is actually on paragraph numbered 8. So paragraph number 8, under other business, says Ms. Cochran has not heard back from the EA. I think it's EEA, 2 E's and an A, Energy and Environmental Affairs. And then the last sentence I wanted to clarify about the Sustainable Sharing Coalition. So, let me just. Yes, I just want to clarify. So, yeah, upcoming events of interest are Stoughton Day on 9/28/24, where the committee will have a table, and I have registered, and Sustainable Sharing Coalition, I would say, will be holding an event on 9/29, but it's not called Sharing Day. Okay, so that is that. Yeah. And with those edits, does anybody want to make
Motion to approve minutes?
Second.
Okay, we'll do roll call, starting with James.
Aye.
Janet?
Here.
You want to, we're just voting to approve the minutes. Okay, Rachel, obviously.
I'm sorry.
Aye. Okay, Aisha?
Aye.
Michael?
Yes.
Yes, so that the minutes are approved, and that's fantastic. So we will get those timely posted. Always good to be on top of those. And I had to handwrite my agenda because was having a printer problem, but I have next on my agenda, I think I'm good, the MAPC update, which is, we don't have an update as far as, as far as any specific planned next step or activity, or as far as whether or not we have the grant yet. So originally we were told at the end of August, which I definitely think we can all agree has come and gone. So we don't have an update from MAPC. Again, I think I guess the only update was that Francelis, who is our chief rep at MAPC, wants to have a designated rep from our committee to go to their meetings. And I indicated it's going to have to be on a Friday, and I think Rachel volunteered to maybe be, like, maybe the two of us could be the primary reps to those meetings, if I recall. Obviously, it depends.
I can't do all Fridays, so, because that's Shabbat, and my kids have rehearsals too, so.
No, so that's the only day I can do. So
okay.
All other things being equal and not having another conflict, I should be available on a Friday. It's if they need to do it on another day, perhaps Rachel would be the second. So anyway, so we haven't had any of those meetings yet, but I have been in communication with Francelis, who's actually very responsive. The next item was the climate audit tool, and my memory might be fuzzy as to what I last said to you, whether it was before or after. I have been on the phone with Kathy Stanley. She did answer a number of those questions for me. I don't know if that was before or after our meeting. But first I spent a lot of time with James going over questions, and now I've gone over with Kathy Stanley. The suggestion was that the next person to fill in maybe some of the responses, and these are really difficult questions that it's like a difficult test that we don't necessarily know the answers to. I have emailed Bill Roth to see if he could do the same as Kathy did. We just got on the phone together, and it was fairly quick with Kathy. So that's where that is. So hopefully if Francelis is checking in on it, because this is that Google Doc type of thing, hopefully she can see that we are making progress. So all other things being equal, I would really hope that is done before our next meeting, and I can tell Francelis that we've answered all the questions to the best of our ability. She can get a sense of where the town is as far as its activities on climate and sustainability. All right, so we're related to that, this is why I should have brought water. Related to that is the stakeholder list, which I will have not had a chance to get to in the last couple of weeks to take a look at it and to see how updated it is. If anybody has any information to add, they can either add it directly or send me an email. Again, it's about other organizations in town who we would love to involve in community engagement and the discussion about what we're going to do about climate change. So again, I would say that would be great since we've had it for about a month or longer. If we feel like we can say to Francelis in 2 weeks, we've got it wrapped up. This is our stakeholder list. All right, that's where that is.
Yeah.
And I know that along those lines, Rachel gave me updated information about the Stoughton Chamber of Commerce being rolled into different things, and if I go back and find her emails, I can reach out to them. So I'm going to make myself a note.
The Metro South Chamber of Commerce or something like
Okay.
that. And it does stuff all over the southeastern part of Boston.
Okay, all right, so that's good. All right, so the next item I had on the agenda, which I think, actually I'm going to go get a sip of water, but it's the master plan. So Rachel, if you want to introduce, I don't know if you've been talking with Bill Roth about that, I'll be right back.
I did. I met with him last week. We had a really good conversation. Oh, hi, Michael. That was just a really cool zoom on. So we had a really great conversation. He says that we should feel free to ask him for anything or to come to him. We had a really good talk about the town master plan, and he does have a checklist of things, but it's not completely updated. So one of the things I was doing this last week was assisting by going through the paper copy that he gave me and updating the online checklist. And I sent it back to him on Friday. I don't think he's gone back to me about that. But because I have the town master plan list, now what I'm going to do, I haven't had a chance to do it yet because kids were sick, but I'm going to go through the online copy, look at the different categories that I think that should be included in the climate action plan, and tell Francelis, ask if she can maybe use some of these as like the implementation goals. Let us know if there's anything to do. Like there are some things on that have nothing to do with us, like maintain at least 10% of year-round housing inventory as affordable. That's not something we can deal with.
Right.
But something like, let me look it through. Continue to extend and enhance walkability throughout Stoughton. Adopt new policies promoting walking and biking is high priority. These are things that we can work with. These are things that we can take on. So, and that's already something that Stoughton is planning on doing. So us advising there is not going to take up any of the town's finances in any way. and it will be part of the plan. So like us being a support there is, yes, James?
Not to interrupt, but I'm just looking into it a little deeply, the 10% affordable housing.
I was just reading a line from the master plan.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah.
But that could have impact because if we meet the requirement, the town will not be obligated to approve 40Bs, which has nuance. It's an important nuance for the mission of the Climate Action Plan Committee. The Chapter 40B subdivisions they get a lot of relief from local bylaws and planning board regulations. They're only controlled by zoning. They streamline a lot of environmental regulations. So that's one thing to be mindful of as well. So we should advocate at least for that and keep that in the back of our minds, that aspect of the master plan. It's important to maintain that 10% because if not, we're going to see more 40Bs that are going to be subdivisions that are not designed to the best extent practical for environmental protection and climate action.
You have gone way beyond my knowledge here. I can look at a spreadsheet and see what needs to be updated quickly.
All right, so I guess the takeaway, James is saying we should clearly support that goal in the current master plan about at least 10% should be affordable housing. Is that the takeaway? Okay, and that makes sense with.
Okay,
Yes.
so maybe I just send the entire list to Francella and see if she knows, since I'm clearly not a good guide to what is or isn't relevant if I don't know this, which is totally fine. I am aware of the areas of my ignorance, so.
And I would agree, and quite frankly, as we sometimes see the ballooning houses that get built, the new structures, we're like, now I look at really big houses, and I like, wow, that house really takes a lot of energy. And we have a desperate need for people for housing and starter housing and more modest income housing at all levels. So it's like, if only they would build smaller housing, that would be an upside on multiple fronts. So that's great. And Rachel, I really appreciate your digging into the master plan because that takes a lot of work because that is a big, long document. And the more we're familiar with it as a committee.
I was looking at a simplified version of it. I was looking at the working list
that's a good place to start.
So.
That's excellent.
But I mean, a lot of the goals already align with the climate action plan. So in a lot of ways, we're not so much innovating here as we are adding motivation and kind of direction. And I think that's something to point out, that we are basically prodding Stoughton along a path, or cheerleading Stoughton down a path is probably a better term, that the town leaders, town government, like every department already wants to be on. So we're more finding out new ways to do this and creating a clear list of goals and communicating this to the public rather than we're going to make things up and we're going to force the town to follow us. So which I think is a good goal communication-wise to understand.
That's a great way to put it. Anybody else have any other questions about the master plan and Rachel's meeting with Bill Roth? Okay. I just have so we're going to go into probably a lengthier discussion, which is about social media, and I have just a couple of my updates to report on that, and then would love to hear people's thoughts, because there will be a lot of thoughts about this. So just this morning, I emailed Mr. Coulter, and I think I copied Select Board Chair Steve Cavey, just said, does the town have any experience with committees really having like a Facebook page? Are there any legal ramifications we should be aware of? In which case, could we perhaps consult with legal counsel? So I'm waiting to hear back from that. Are they going to give us a green light? Or are they going to say, I wouldn't recommend it? Are they going to say, oh yeah, there's a simple set of rules, and it depends on, I'm sort of thinking it depends on how you sort of structure the nature of what is this Facebook page about. So that's just a question pending. Just go ahead, Rachel.
I do realize that some of this is I want the ability to share information to different groups without it all being notifications on my personal account. So some of it is, and like not necessarily getting into the back and forth, but more of an informational thing. So,
Sure. All
because
right.
I don't want to be getting into arguments all the time.
Yeah,
about this.
exactly. Can I just report back on the information I got, and then Janet has a question
Okay.
next. So I actually exchanged emails with my counterpart our counterpart in Canton, Tom Birmingham, just to see if they had a Facebook page, and he said not to date. He said that people are using other Facebook pages out there, whether it's personal or another group, a neighborhood group, to get information or get their message out, but they don't have one actively. So then I wrote to Francelis, who gave me a long response, which I will try to paraphrase here, and she was very prompt in responding. She said, Francelis writes, I did a quick check. It looks like the majority of communities I worked with don't have a Facebook page. It seems like some of them rely on other partners, such as committees working on similar issues, to share information for them, such as when there's an event occurring. And then she forwarded me an example of Reading's Climate Advisory Committee Facebook page, so maybe you might want to look that up. So there is a Facebook page, Reading Climate Advisory Committee. And Francel says, we're currently working with the town of Reading on a plan and received a significant amount of negative comments, opposition with some residents on the draft strategies through an online discussion board. I'm not sure if Stoughton's level of opposition would be similar, but from recent posts, it seems like the Reading Committee Facebook page doesn't have negative comments. She says, if you think it'll be fruitful, give it a try, and just to see even if just to see the engagement trends, and then if that does more harm than good, you could pivot and try something different. We'd be happy to support with brainstorming alternative methods of communication. So I think those are my reports back.
Right.
Open for, so I guess there's not a clear sense that everybody else
Yeah.
is doing this. But maybe Michael and Rachel, I'm sorry, Janet had the first question. We'll start with you, and then we'll go to Michael, then to Rachel.
No, I mean, I definitely love the idea about involving other committees and other sources, whether it be schools or whatever. I mean, anything you can do that's positive. As far as Facebook, I think it's a good way of communication. And Rachel you did say you're going to put in something. I think we have guidelines. Most Facebook pages have guidelines. Like a group I belong to, they always say everyone needs to be positive and respectful and all that stuff. And if someone isn't, like you said, Rachel, you know how to, whether it be blocking them or handling it. I'm not sure how you do it, but I think we definitely need to still have word of mouth. We definitely need to still have meetings, where people are welcome to come to and we go to and we say whatever. I actually found some other Facebook pages, but they were like all over the country. So I was just looking at them to see what they put on, which was really interesting. But I also as a source of information to the public at large about things going on, whether it be locally or in the world.
Yep.
So I always start out being positive, but obviously if it doesn't work out, take it off. Don't. But give it a shot. That's my feeling. So.
I think if we were to start it, it could probably be promoting something about like, we're going to have a table at Stoughton Day and putting that in a couple of Stoughton groups and turning off comments and seeing what the kind of engagement is. And if it's completely toxic, we can just delete the page.
Right.
Michael, what do you think as far as a strategy? And...
A couple of things. First of all, we keep talking about Facebook.
Okay.
We're leaving out
Everything else, right.
basically 90% of social media.
Okay.
Facebook is it's a smaller fish in a very large pond now. You got
Right.
TikTok, you've got X, you've got Instagram, which is where people are going now. So,
I don't
thinking entirely in terms of
there's not a large
Thinking-
presence in X.
thinking entirely in terms, well, whatever whatever you wanted to use, just don't think in terms of Facebook.
Okay, no, I agree. Okay. It's a broader
Secondly, what
question.
Rachel was saying before about having this as kind of a launching pad or a springboard wherein to post on other pages is 100% right.
Okay.
Because if you or I want to post something on, say, the enthusiast page or the Stoughton Moms, whatever,
Right.
we should not be using necessarily our own names and our own it'll carry some more credibility, et cetera. Along those, and it'd be great for that. Along those same lines, in terms of, and this is the key thing, is what kind of content do we want to be disseminating on there? I would suggest, and this is just a suggestion, but if we don't post controversial stuff, we're not going to get a lot of pushback. In other words, if we're posting links to the New York Times story there, boom, you're going to get hammered. That's the failing New York Times, that's a lot of BS, that's et cetera, et cetera. However, if we're putting up things like, here's 3 things to do, don't idle your car, turn off your lights, whatever. Like our interim recommendations, they're not very controversial.
Okay.
Like you can't really argue with those things. Now, if they were mandates, you could, but as recommendations, things like that. So if it's relatively innocuous, but it does continue to keep our name out there, the second thing that does is it makes us look like we're not shoving things down people's throats. Again, we're recommending this. We're recommending that. And again, things that people can't really argue with. I would not get into, though, posting up a lot of informational links and things, because that just invites pushback. In terms of managing the page, again, that's the tricky thing. You need an administrator. You need somebody who's going to look at it at least once a day. Wow. And, well, actually, I shouldn't say that. You'll need somebody who's going to be able to look at it whenever alerts come up that somebody is posted on. I should put it that way. For example, I'm one of the admins still on the Stoughton Democrats page. So my alerts every day are not only for my name, but for anything that comes in the Stoughton Democrats page. So if you see a lot of things happening on this page, it'll come up in your daily alerts too, and you'll know, oh, I should go have a look. You should go check out what's going on there. In terms of managing, also, you have to be careful with things like blocking people. There are First Amendment issues in play here. When you're a government site, there's been all kinds of problems over. Well, it's fascinating actually, but are you allowed to block people if you're a town official with a Twitter account and people are harassing you? Do you have the right to block them, or are you thereby cutting somebody out of a conversation that, as a constituent, they're entitled to be a part of? Just a thought there. But
doesn't that what you just said go to the heart of the feasibility of this?
How so?
Because there's people who are going to put false information on there in
People
response.
Yeah.
So what you're saying, we can't block them?
No. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, be careful with that.
That's why I want to ask the lawyer.
Well, even if they put false information, I don't know. I guess I'm just not in favor of shutting up because people are going to argue with me. I'm not in favor of not putting stuff out there because people are going to put other stuff out there. I think that's surrendering, and I don't like it.
I agree.
On the other hand, and like I said, you do always have that opportunity to take the whole page down, like Rachel said. If you find after a week or two that there is so much of that is drowning out our voice, and it could happen.
Yeah.
Some of us know what happens on that Stoughton news page.
Yeah.
It gets really bad. We'll just kill it off. I mean, it's no cost. That's the beautiful thing here. Yeah. It's not like you've been building a website. This is a totally free, no cost thing. If after a couple of weeks it's like, this is not working, boom, kill it. You know what I mean?
Rachel, what are your thoughts?
So, to address a couple things. One, the reason why I keep saying Facebook is because that is where I know there is a large Stoughton community. I was on Twitter for a while and I'm not on there anymore. I was on TikTok. I'm not on TikTok at all. I have no idea how that works, and that's actually a place where I'd be interested in talking to kids from the recycling club and what they think about that, because I know my limits. I know I'm not going to go do anything. For the Facebook page specifically, because there is a large Stoughton population, because it's in their face, and it's something that we can get into that online community very quickly. I was thinking having a page, no comments on the page itself, or at least for now, posting exactly what Michael was thinking, posting about the anti-idling policy, posting about Black Earth, and the composting, posting about the availability of these programs at DPW. Not anything controversial at all, things that people are very fond of. Posting links to our survey and asking people to fill it out so that they can have their opinion named. And not having the post open for commenting unless you follow the page for a certain number of days. I don't think that our page necessarily is going to be a place where people are going to communicate. It is mostly for us to like advertise out. And so, and spread information that way. And like, if I post in Stoughton Enthusiasts, I will respond as the Climate Action Plan Committee in Stoughton Enthusiasts. And I actually have run social media pages before on Facebook. So I am aware of what gets immediate feedback, what kinds of things not to say, what kinds of things to say. I'm pretty much always very cheerful and kind, and I always ask people to, like, if they really have a problem, take it to DM. Sometimes that works, and you can have a good conversation. I am not foreseeing that as being a huge problem in the short term, at least. And if it does become a huge problem, shut it down.
Yeah, that is true, that you could basically just, every single post, we can just turn off comments.
Yeah.
And just have it won't be a discussion board.
Right, that's what I was thinking, more of a sort of a live, I guess it makes it more of a website-y type thing, more
Well,
live.
no, not really, because nobody's gonna come to it. You know, and we don't need people to come to it. What we do is we use that, that's our paths into all of the other pages. So we
Okay.
post to their pages saying, the enthusiast page, say, hey, the Climate Action Committee has come up with these 3 ideas, or is holding an event, or invites you to this or to that. And now on those pages, there's still gonna be people that are gonna complain.
Yeah.
But the
okay.
fact is, if they're complaining and, giving you pushback when you're putting up stuff that really isn't controversial, they're gonna look like fools.
Yeah.
And people are starting to, I'm not gonna get into it.
Okay.
But people on Facebook develop reputations and are developing reputations very often. So I would just say that sometimes I think that people in Stoughton are capable of making judicious decisions about what they're reading very often. People that are, nobody's going to be, I don't think too many people are going to be misinformed unless they're already susceptible to and living off the disinformation
Exactly.
already.
Which quite
So I would suggest that, if we want to go ahead with this, I think what Rachel's saying is spot on. We'd start with the Facebook page, no comments, and use it to push to other, use it largely to push to other, to gain entrance to other sites. We join those sites through that, and then use it that way. And I think that would alleviate a lot of the everything you mentioned, Molly, is they're all genuine concerns. And we have our hands full. We've had our hands full with things, and we're going to continue to. So I don't want to invite any more problems than we already have. But I do think you're going to reach thousands of people with this that don't even know the Climate Action Plan Committee exists. Literally thousands that we would not reach otherwise.
How do I get rid of that?
Yeah.
Other way.
Last year when I was doing the survey, most people had not heard that Stoughton had done anything for climate action at all. Like, I think one of the only people who said, like, yes, they felt well informed was actually someone on the select board. So, like, we are starting from the education gap. The post I was thinking of starting with was, like, something about Black Earth and composting, something about recycling plastic, because there are a couple places locally where you can recycle, like, plastic film. This is something I found on the Sustainable Sharon Facebook page, so that's what inspired me. And maybe saying, hey, for more tips, come see us at Stoughton Day.
That seems harmless enough. Let me just make sure we get everybody else in a discussion. So Aisha, I didn't know whether you use social media and familiar with all these issues, what your feelings are, whether you are in touch with Stoughton social media, different places.
Yeah, I have actually posted climate action on the Stoughton moms, Stoughton news. I've done that like in time past, and it was well received.
Great. All right, James, thoughts about sort of starting off with I would say this is going to be a limited initial venture because it's not going to be with commentary back and forth.
Yes.
Well, what I'm thinking is I don't think we should really waste a lot of time on it until we get the green light to move forward on it. I'm thinking that if there aren't a lot of other committees with Facebook pages, I don't know if it's a great idea to get involved with this. I think we have our work cut out for us, and this may be, just too much work, and it may be a distraction. A lot of social media attracts, an irreputable cross-section of society, and a lot of video, a lot of trolls will be on the site looking at the webpage, and naysayers, people trying to just be negative about the mission of the Climate Action Plan. I don't know. I'm just not a fan of coming up with a Facebook page. But it's up to the committee to decide what they want to do on it. But let's wait and see if we have the green light on it. Come up with some type of ground rules so that we're ready if it's a yes, and then just go from there.
I understand what you're saying. I don't know how long it's going to take to get the green light. I mean, if we get it in a week, that would be great. I also want to say we are different from many other committees, and that a core mission of us is community engagement and community education and community, information and persuasion, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, which is, different from a lot of the other committees in town. So to that extent, it does seem, if there were a process that would work, it does seem like a great step. And it seems like if we're just going to do one that's more like, I would call it a static Facebook page, not that it won't get changed every couple of weeks, but a static Facebook page that is linked, or I'm trying to use the language of somebody who's never done this, that is connected to other Facebook pages, and that's just kind of like a baby step into social media. And then I think maybe we'll take it from there. But if you want me to get the green light, I can see if I can, for that very limited purpose, I think I could get that response sooner, because it is a very cautious step, is what it seems like, right?
Yeah, and Jim, to your comment, again, if we turn off all discussion, then there's not going to be any trolling.
Yeah.
There's that element. Do we need somebody's approval for this?
I'm thinking also that one of the things that you said that comes to mind, I don't think we'll be able to avoid controversy because there's folks out there that just don't believe in climate change. They think it's a hoax. So I think that's
we're not going to make the controversy go. We're not going to make the controverscy go away. We know that, and we know that there's always going to be a reaction. We have a reactionary group of people, so it's not about making the controversy go away. It's just a matter of getting some basic information, including action steps, out in a pretty self-protective,
In an empowering way.
harmless
Getting
way.
Communication from the community.
Janet, you have thoughts?
Yeah, no, I don't think we're trying to, we've talked about, we're not trying to force anything or trying to convince them that it exists or not, but I think you're just trying to find another form of just showing that we exist, the marketing. It's like it's a marketing tool. It's just showing that we're open. It's showing that there are other towns out there doing something. Stoughton is also doing something. We might not be doing exactly the same things, but we have probably similar goals, and I think it's just a positive thing. I don't know that we have to make it a major part. It's just another way of communicating. That's all it is. It's kind of like having newsletters. It's kind of like when you have newspapers, you have flyers, you have, and not everyone goes to the meetings. I mean, some people do go to meetings and they're not members, but how many people still do that? And how many people still go to events? It's just another way of sort of, I guess you could use advertising or PR, however you want to phrase it. It's just, people always have an opinion. I mean, it's just the way life is, and yes, you will have some negative people, but Not everyone's as positive as we are, but you know, I think we just have to start with that positive step first and just give it a shot. And if it doesn't work, like you said,
I mean, like,
we have other ways to do things too. It's not that this is the only.
if it is a completely toxic experiment, that gives us some very important information for the climate action plan.
That's a positive thing too. You learn something.
I don't think it will be that negative. I think that most people will just be like, oh, that's pretty cool. And kind of normalizing the climate resilience strategies that we've been talking about in daily life. Like, treating it like it's a bomb about to go off makes it scarier. It's just being like very matter of fact, oh, hey, did you know Stoughton offers composting? Hey, did you know you can recycle this plastic wrap right in front of Shaw's at Canton? And you can also do it here at the Market Basket in Brockton. Hey, did you know that with Black Earth you can compost bags? That's cool. Like, not making it easier and accessible, I think, is where I'm coming from.
That's a good point.
And not controversial.
And can I
mean,
just,
like, not courting controversy.
right, thank you.
That's my private opinion.
Yes, I don't know how much work it takes. I couldn't tell you. I've never done anything like that. But I just know it's like anything, like when you put things in the library or in businesses around or whatever you do.
It does not have to be a super active thing. There are people who run their pages 24/7, and you don't have to do that.
No.
But like, since what we want is to get engagement from the community, put something out there, see if there get clicks. If it doesn't get clicks, try something else.
Michael has a comment.
I'm not sure you mean by getting clicks.
You can see who has interacted, like how many people have, like, if I post a link to like Next Trucks or Black Earth, I can see how many people click.
Oh, I understand what you're saying, right.
Right.
Yeah, the other thing is that if we're not allowing commenting, then a lot of those administrative oversight headaches go away too. You're not going to be monitoring to see who said what, over the last 3 hours. That whole problem pretty much disappears.
I have done that as a thing, and I don't want to do that again ever.
Right.
Just to follow up on the idea of links back and forth, one of the things you often read about is people getting in trouble because they liked a post or they link to a post and you go to that other Facebook page and there's something, objectionable there. So I guess, you know what I'm saying? Like, you always read about people getting in trouble for that. I just want to make sure that we would be very cautious about what we would send a link to, because people are going to, obviously, if it's masssave.gov, we're on very, very firm ground, and there's a whole bunch of million different web pages on there in sustainability. But if it's something that people might feel there's, and there are a couple extremistic groups out there, or objectionable, or, somebody says, it's 3 steps away from what you did, but somebody on that website said something, or that Facebook page said something bad and you didn't know about it, but now you're getting blamed for it because you linked to it. This stuff we read about all the time. I just want to make sure we're super cautious about.
Yeah. No, again, I was thinking only approve, like, not even posting news.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, on my personal page, I'll post good news. But I wouldn't even post news on this. It would be like, these are direct actions that we can do in Stoughton that the government is doing right now that we're promoting. This is something cool happening here.
And then of course, when we have a community engagement event with our friends at MAPC, hopefully that's exactly what we would put on their Facebook page and or other social media, including Instagram, if we get there. And then hopefully that will garner more attention, because it really is hard to get people to, other than like 15, 10, 5 people to show up for anything.
Another group that I'm in is currently trying to use Facebook as a way of like collecting signatures, and it's not going well. So I don't think that this is like going to solve any issues, but I think that also it's time to start trying to get more feedback from people in the community, listening to them and what they want. And this is as good a way as any to collect information on that and to shape our responses.
All right, so I'm just gonna, before we launch, I don't know, are we at the point where we wanna reserve this until I get more information about this more limited approach? And then recircle back 2 weeks from now? Or are people of the mind they wanna launch in a limited capacity now and then see what happens? I don't want to dictate one way or the other.
Yeah, I think my personal preference is to start up in a very limited way just before Stoughton Day, and so I can like a page of Stoughton Day, or that someone else is going, and put up something like, hey, we're going to be here in Stoughton Enthusiast. Like very, very low key, not posting a ton. The only post being like the ones that I just mentioned about Black Earth, about MAPC, about Mass Save, about Next Track, which is the plastics recycling. And then liking it and asking you guys to like it as well if you're on Facebook.
All right.
Do I
Ayesha?
make the motion?
Yeah, let me
I make the
just
motion?
make sure, Ayesha,
Exactly.
before I go, Ayesha, anything else to add to the discussion? Are you all set?
No, I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Ayesha. Are people, I mean, honestly, I think, I would still, obviously, I like the idea of generating traffic for Stoughton Day, right? That's a good thing. So if somebody wants to make a motion and phrase it in the appropriate way for the committee's consideration, then we can put that on the table. And then I think we're gonna continuously revisit it, right? I'll gather more information, we'll see how it's going. We'll, and if I hear something that sounds like it's not recommended for various reasons, even in this extremely limited way, which is quite limited. It's rather than Rachel sitting out under her own name, it's more like, here's the CAP committee, we're gonna be at Stoughton Day. Maybe in a few weeks from now, we're gonna be at something else. Here's some links to some ways you can save energy or something. All right, if anybody wants to formulate a motion, that's not gonna be me, so.
I move that we authorize Rachel Lazarus to create and maintain a Facebook page as an initial step into the social media sphere, with possibly more to come, with the limitations that we discussed that should show up otherwise in the minutes tonight, regarding the content and the nature of the discussions thereon.
Can I suggest a better way to
Go ahead.
phrase that? Sorry, because I think a more crisp, independent motion. So maybe the motion should be, and I don't know if the chair should make the motion. Somebody else can maybe pick it up for me. To move to authorize Rachel to create and maintain a Facebook page as initial step into involvement in social media, which page would be limited initially, at least, to linking with certain limited resources. It's more like I have to say it's not going to involve comments. So which Facebook page would not involve commentary with the public, but may involve links with such organizations as Black Earth Compost and Mass Save that relate to sustainability. Is that clear?
Yeah, that is it.
Very wordy.
All right.
Yeah, we just probably want to make it as simple as possible, but.
Yeah. Extremely
Yeah,
limited. And
okay, so
we'll
moved.
just get at the next meeting.
Right. All right. Aisha had a comment.
Yeah. I was gonna make a comment. I think it's very lengthy. If we can move this to next meeting before we adopt it.
The only reason why I want to move on it now is because Stoughton Day is this weekend.
All right. So I'm going to narrow the motion again. Okay. So that can be even more narrow. And then we will, and I'm agreeing with you, Aisha, we will work on a more sophisticated motion, more detailed motion for consideration next week. But I would say, I would move or ask somebody else to move that we authorize Rachel to create and maintain a Facebook page without commentary and interaction for the purposes initially of notifying or linking with other Facebook pages about our presence as a committee at Stoughton Day.
That means we're only gonna put up one thing.
We'll be back here in
Yeah,
2
it's only
weeks.
talking about one event. I think it's really about
Kilowatt,
communicating.
kind of dead.
Is
You
it
just have
about
one thing sitting
communicating
up
what's
there.
going on?
Well, I mean, we can certainly introduce ourselves. You know, interrupt you here. Here's what we are. Here's what we're working
Well, if
on.
you introduce, I mean, people are not just, people are not gonna come to the page. Nobody's
I mean,
just
you
gonna
can have
stumble
an
on it
outlet.
or visit it.
Right.
It's all gonna be, they're gonna see it on other pages.
Okay.
So
You have to
then they
say
will
that we're
come. But if they
creating-
come and there's just one post on there, one thing, it's gonna look kind of dead. I don't know why we'd want to restrict ourselves to just an announcement about Stoughton Day.
What
I
about
think you
announce?
have to put something, no, it's not the penny saver anymore, it's, what is it, the Stoughton, some journal? Stoughton.
Shopper.
Whatever it is, you have to say something about, we have a Facebook page coming up, but we
All
can
right.
still advertise Stoughton Day, whether it be in this or whether it be in, any other things we've used in the past to announce.
All right.
you know.
Aisha has her hand up. Aisha.
Yeah, so I was gonna say this, like, why don't we use an already well-established page, like Stoughton News, Stoughton
Yeah.
Norms, we have those pages where we can post the same message, and they already have membership, you know, that's gonna have more traffic than creating a new page and posting the message.
Well, right, no, the point is to do that with something that's not our personal accounts. Like, I don't want to go into Stoughton News as Rachel Lazarus, I want to post something in Stoughton News as Climate Action Plan Committee.
So yeah, so you don't have to be the one to post it. So you could like DM like any of the admin. The admin is literally right there, and then you give them the message, and then they post it. On our
They
behalf.
usually ask you to post it and then they approve it. Then
Well, I did the last time. I did it, and they approved it.
Yeah, I sort of feel like, you know what, I sort of feel like I'd feel more comfortable if we have something written up by Rachel that is sort of like how our initial page would read with
If
exactly.
it's not gonna work by Stoughton Day, it doesn't have to work by Stoughton Day. How about I come to the next meeting with like 3 or 4 different posts that I'd be planning? So you can see how I'd be thinking of it
And-
working, and we'll be at Stoughton Day.
Okay, and
Okay,
actually,
so, Rachel, I agree to create the page, but you still have to use the page to post on, like the Stoughton News or something, because I agree with what Michael is saying. Like, even if you post it on our page that you're going to create today, it's already the deadline is too close to make traffic. So if we accept to create the committee page on Facebook, my only ask is so that it will be efficient, effective, and useful for everyone. You go to the Stoughton News and create that message, and then they approve it. So it comes from like the committee page on that platform.
Right. Yeah, I think we're discussing the same thing.
okay, so you're on the same page. So it sounds like we clearly are in favor of Rachel promoting, that we're going to be at Stoughton Day on social media. I think maybe Rachel will come back with the proposed content of the page, and we'll come back with like a really well-written, and I'm sorry, there's 2 lawyers in the room, but we're not doing a great job late at night off the top of our head, making it like a concise sentence with the parameters, which I think we can do that between now and next meeting, and we'll come up with a really well-worded, concrete, some of us are slow workers, and that we can really dig into it and, tweak the language a little bit as a committee. But I think that you're right, we don't want to have some really unwieldy thing that, isn't concise and isn't concrete. We want to be careful with the wording of what we're authorizing and what step we're taking down. So I think that's where we're going to leave it. Being cautious, and again, we'll try to work up, and Rachel will work up some details of how she thinks the page would look and what it would do, and then Michael and I can work on some wording of a motion that would allow us, using all the proper language, to approve moving forward with social media at the next meeting. Does that make sense to everybody?
So,
Yeah.
so
Can
not,
I just ask a question though? I mean, I know we're different because you're talking about community involvement. I'm just wondering if any other committee or anything else other than Stoughton News, if there's any other like social media thing out there for any Stoughton committee or program. I mean, I know the schools have something, and I know there's different things, but Because I mean, are we being unique because we're talking about the community involvement? We're doing something different.
I don't know, and I've asked that question of the town manager, whether he knows if other committees have Facebook pages. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's gonna determine our direction one way or the other, but I'm
No,
certainly
it's
curious.
a curious question. That's
Yeah.
all. It's not anything else. I like the idea, but I just didn't know if anyone else
Right,
did.
all right, so
Just so
Rachel,
that I know,
yeah,
is this a yes or no on creating it to promote Stoughton Day or not?
we're not gonna create the page because we wanna come back next time and have
Okay.
full input as to what the page looks
Not
like
yet.
in a very specific motion.
So I'm not posting that Sunday. Awesome.
Okay.
Got it. I'll write about 3 or 4 social media posts.
Okay, thank you everybody for the discussion. All right, hopefully it'll be a smooth discussion next time, because we've really gotten into it this time. Hopefully it'll be smoother, it'll come together. Which takes us to our next exciting topic, which is Stoughton Day, which I will say, last year was a really good turnout. Weather's not supposed to be great. Aisha was there with me for hours, and Aisha knows about 75,000 people in town. So, which is actually great to have somebody who's got a lot of connections. I don't know, it's from 11 to 3 in Halloran Park. If anybody could just drop by, I'll be there. I've registered under the name of Sustainability Committee. And this time I got it free, last year I paid. I'll be there with that banner, but I'll be obviously representing both committees. I'll take some action step flyers, I'll take some surveys, obviously with the QR code survey. And
Do you have
anybody
an answer?
who could drop by for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours is welcome to join. And just, I'm sure lots of interesting people will show up. And,
Are we just gonna have a table with information? How are we gonna?
well, we're going to be speaking to people, quite frankly. And actually, I do feel that some of the students from the cycling club may show up.
Okay,
So, like I say, we'll talk about what we're about. We'll talk about if you're interested in some action steps. Here's a list of steps. If you're interested in, sign up on our sign-up sheet as we have community engagement events. We would love to invite you.
great.
That kind of thing,
Okay.
and just, press the flesh with the people and promote who we are and what we're doing and why we're doing it. And some people might want to
Right.
discuss it, and some people might take a flyer and move on.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you have any
Rachel?
flyers to hand out? I don't know.
Do you have any giveaways?
I'm sorry?
Do you have any giveaways? Like, is there some kind of sustainably wrapped candy?
Oh, you mean like a gimmick sort of?
Yeah, to get people to come and to spend a little bit of time at the table.
Yeah, that would be nice. I don't know if I'm gonna get
Or
around to
even
get.
a poster or
What-
something that sort of brings them over to the table as opposed to just people standing at something, just, I don't know.
I'll see if I can
Stable?
brainstorm anything. I don't have the ability to bake anything, so.
Right,
I know what you mean, because I've been at these things and, everybody goes for the candy, but usually that's the
Right.
kids going for the candy. If I had something else, I don't know. If we had the leftover popcorn from last Halloween, but it's getting kind of old.
right.
All right. Anyways, it is a nice community day, and I can just hope and pray that the weather is decent.
Yeah.
It'll be good. All right.
Right.
Other business, if we're ready to move on from Stoughton Day, other business. Recycling Club is revived. I've touched base with, I'm not sure if they're still calling it the Recycling Club. I'm really curious if they changed their name. Touched base with Ms. Kelly, who's their advisor, as to working on a date to just come and introduce ourselves to them with Rachel and I did last year, but I think there was so much turnover. I don't know if there's new officers this year. And also they said that they might drop by on Stoughton Day, so hopefully we'll make some progress with talking to them. That's pretty much, oh, did I have anything else? I'm trying to think, no, I guess that was it. Nothing else has cropped up in the last week since I sent out the agenda. No new business. We are here all by ourselves. There's no public comment. So, I actually would like to have the next few ones be in person, because I think if we get a student to come, we want them to come in person like we did last year. So if we could have the hybrid meetings for the next few meetings and just see how that goes, so that we can sort of have an open door. That I did suggest to the students, like, let me know a week ahead of time and I'll actually put you on the agenda, so that we can have a lot of back and forth and see what their thoughts are, what they know, what they're interested in talking about. So that would be great. And then again, if I get any news from MAPC that, to pass along, and then the next 2 weeks, I'll certainly just shoot everybody an email. We're still waiting to hear back. They're obviously very, very busy at MAPC, which is why honestly, like, they awarded our grant, but they did it almost a year late. Like, that shows how busy they are, and I think that's just gonna continue. But we'll do everything we can to help them out and be productive. Anything else, or does anybody want to make a motion to close the meeting?
I did find sustainable wrapped truffles. But I think it'll be like dark chocolate, but it is available if we want to hand them out.
Good to know. I actually might have some candy around the house, come to think of it. I actually do have some truffles. There's only about 10 of them though.
You know what, I just thought about, not for necessarily that day, but you know, like how people put things on their cars? See, maybe a little something, if we had a little something, at some point, you know, the people can put, you know, thing that they're all for the good of the earth, whatever it is, some kind of sustainable.
Bumper stickers or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it would be, just a simple thing, you know, people can put on, because you have it for all kinds of places you go to,
We
so.
don't have a budget on it.
I just to say, we have a budget of 0,
Right.
so, negative 0, unfortunately.
Yeah,
As does the sustainability
budget of
committee.
0, huh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
any event,
And
but
I
that's a
just thought
great,
it'd be
if we
nice.
have some students who want to do something and do some creative
Yeah,
artwork,
maybe
that'd
you
be
can
great.
get someone to do something, because you do have artistic people. And,
That's true.
You know,
That's true.
Mhm.
All right, anybody want to make a motion?
Anybody else want to comment? Motion to adjourn?
second,
Okay, we'll go around in a circle,
Jenny, go ahead.
with James,
Aye.
sorry?
with Janet,
Yes. Aye.
Rachel.
Sorry. Keep forgetting to say
So
that.
Rachel said yes. Aisha? Ready to adjourn?
Pretty face?
Okay, thanks, Aisha. I vote yes to adjourn, and so we are unanimous that we're going to adjourn. Thank you,
Are we meeting
everybody.
in like 2 weeks or
We
something?
should be
What
meeting
time?
in 2 weeks. It should be another hybrid meeting, God willing. And thank you for your time tonight, and thank you for the robust discussion about the social media. That's why you have a committee, to sort of like flesh things out and argue them back and forth, and hopefully we're gonna solidify what we're doing moving forward by the next meeting. It's gonna be right there on my agenda. If you think of anything else you need to have on the agenda, just let me know by next Tuesday. All right, everybody have a
Okay.
great week. Thank
Okay.
you. Bye-bye.
You too.
See you Thursday, Jen.
Thank you to SMAC too.